So it's been very very interesting. All the experiences I've had came to play, and the good thing about it is that they become more of a supporting role towards the industry and the international community. You know, that wide. So as I said, it's an interesting one. It's very very interesting. We get contacted by so many organizations.
Okay.
Because the Gulf of Guinea, as you see, is becoming very, very interesting. Very interesting, not just locally, but internationally. So I've had to do with quite a lot of international bodies, who ask me about the status and situation of the environment and how we can improve lives and business in the region. So that's why I say it's been very, very interesting. As you know, interestingly, sometimes we have situations where ships have run into serious issues, and we need to resolve them. Some of the companies actually they're not very very particular about the publicity of things. You understand? So they require people that more or less have got the experience of resolving their issues for them, you know, without bringing too much negative pressure to bear,
Okay.
things like that. And some of them, they want to do business in the region. They look at how they would come and register their vessels and businesses within our region. So those are sometimes interesting issues. I mean, issues that can create jobs for us. From the COVID times, the new situation, I think we haven't really done badly, if you ask me. But it could have been better too if we had been more focused. But the prospects are very, very high. The the possibilities of improving is there, and the potentials are still, yet to be fully explored. So it's looking good for us at the moment. It is looking good if we are ready to do the right things. Not totally. Why I say not totally is because you sometimes it is easy to copy. It may not be easy to paste and practice.
Okay.
As you know, the act was not did not originate from us. It came from the United States, from the Jones Act of 1963 or thereabout. Good. And if you go back to the fellows we took the act from, you will discover that by virtue of civilization, development, and so much, they themselves, the originators, have made amendments to it. They have. So now, within certain areas and certain restrictions, foreign ships, I think, can even participate in cabotage within the United States. Now, let's come back to Nigeria. Now, looking at the Nigerian side of things, no doubt about it that we have done to some extent what we could. I think not quite long ago, I was in a conference where we were talking about within the next 5 years or something like that, 5 years or so thereabout, you would find yourself in a situation whereby it is going to be, there will be no waivers anymore or something. It's for now I can say it's not going to be possible because first we do not build ships, we still bring ships into the country, and the type of businesses we have in our region are so specialized that we will continue to rely on specialized ships, not even ordinary ships. And specialized ships also require specialized qualifications and experience also to run, you know. And some, luckily, our institutions are able to provide, some no. Now, since we don't build these ships, and we also do not have the monies to buy these ships from ground up, we may be forced to hire them. And if we hire them, who knows the conditions the owners will give? You know, who knows the conditions the owners are going to give? Now, what do I mean by the conditions the owners are going to give? They're not going to allow you sometimes to say, "Oh, look, we want to change the flag to a Nigerian flag." They're not going to allow you, for obvious reasons. And as I said, in the initial stages, the industry, needs to look seriously into this issue that I'm going to say now. The moment you change your flag to another country's flag, depending on the maritime status of that country, the value of your asset is going to change. Either it is going to go up or it's going to go down. If you change it to a flag that is high in terms of maritime regime, the value of your asset will go up. If you change it to a country that has not got a very good regime in terms of maritime administration, the value of your asset will go down. And that is why sometimes most countries or most ship owners prefer to keep their flags. So if you keep your flag, then the crewing, manning, and maintenance of that particular ship is going to depend on the flag you intend to maintain. And that flag may not allow you, to some extent, place your locals on board their ship by virtue of the fact that your certificate is not recognized or your level of training is not up to date. So there are a lot of issues. So in terms of that, the only time we can say 100% that we're going to practice the cabotage in the way it is written in the act without the waivers is when we really up our game to the standards high enough for foreigners to recognize us as a maritime power. That's my position. To be honest with you, I've read quite a fair bit on it. I've seen that. Uh, Mind you, the donations have been going on for quite a long time, both Naira component and so much. Though I wasn't too deep into the cabotage, but by virtue of the fact that my knowledge within shipping is vast, um, the disbursement has to take a fair bit of calculations into it. Now it's a vessel financing fund as far as we know. Okay, if it is vessel financing, first, how much is there to finance how many vessels? That's the question. I don't, I've not been hosting that amount of money, so I really can't tell you how much vessels can be financed. And if you're going to finance those vessels, who will you finance it? But mind you, it's a responsibility of the banks also to look into it, the banks involved in the act to look into it, and then see how they can best go about it. It's a very, very risky uh, area, no doubt, because you don't want to tip the balance in terms of somebody may think you favor this company or the other company against the other. So it is something that is of concern to the ship owners or those who are contributing into it. But those who are contributing it into the fund also have a responsibility to check how much did you contribute, knowing fully well that if it is good enough for you to own a ship by now, I mean, and do you have the experience to go and operate the ship on your own? But a lot of people may say, well, look, it's our money. True, yeah, it's our money, but please spend it wisely when the time comes. Can we really say NNPC is doing so in violation of the cabotage? I don't really think it's a violation of the Cabotage Act. Why am I saying this? A lot of the ships that NNPC go on for lifting cabotage products, if I may say, we're talking about refined products now within
Yes.
within
Yes.
the coast. I mean, those companies are registered in Nigeria. Those companies were given waivers by the government to operate. So if they've been given waivers to operate by the government, it was the same government that also came about the Cabotage Act. So how come it's now illegal? I don't see it as illegal. You give them licenses to operate. So at the moment you issue them those licenses to operate and the waivers to operate, they literally become locals. So they can compete favorably. So I think the best is we need to up our game locally.
Okay.
Okay, we need to up our game locally to be able to kind of compete favorably. I mean, shipping is an international thing, whether it is local or it's coming from the outside. If your game is good, people will patronize you. But if your game is not proper, then nobody will patronize you. That is the situation. I think we may need to take a survey of the industry to really see where the graduates are. We need to take a survey, you know, of the companies operating locally, and possibly also contact some of the graduates. Where are they now? You know, and how are they part of those developing the shipping? Because the whole idea of the program initially is to develop shipping, is to bring crewing to manageable level locally, you know, and be able to also get international recognition that we are producing technical people for the industry, which is also a good thing for our standings within the international maritime community. It's not a bad thing. But come to look at it properly, we need to also take stock of the spending. So this monies have been used to improve our local institution and our local standards.
Okay.
Because if you send somebody outside to go and obtain a foreign certificate, you're not empowering your local institutions or your local opportunities. You are still empowering the outside countries. If, for example, let's say the Philippines say that, look, they have put out 6 million seafarers into the maritime space. They are looking at it from those points of view. They are looking at it from those points of view where, at the end of the day, they have issued 6 million certificates, and not all the 6 million certificates may be Filipinos. There may even be Nigerians involved in it. You understand? Most countries are actually moving away from that because shipping, as we see today, is more of a private ventured business. The procedures to keep a shipping company afloat are too complex, too complex in a heavily bureaucratic environment. I'll be very, very frank. So it's only the private sector that can sustain shipping. You know, only the private sector can sustain such a business because the bureaucracy of seeking approvals to keep something that is constantly on the move afloat is a very, very difficult one, which I think government needs to look deeply before jumping into it. That's my take on it. We've got enough forces on top of the water at the moment, if you ask me. You know, it depends on how you take it, but I don't think the Coast Guard is a better option. Why did I say so? The only way to secure your waters is your strategy.
Okay.
Can you guarantee me that the strategy we don't have today will come tomorrow by putting a Coast Guard?
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
The truth to the situation is that we have not really sat down to look at the strategy of our region in terms of maritime. So as soon as we do that, I guess everything will be fine. I'm not surprised because if you look at the statistics that was given, it was a worldwide statistics. It was not just a regional one.
Yeah.
Piracy have dropped worldwide. That was the statistics. So coming quickly out to say that, oh, it's because of this we did or that we did, wasn't really very correct if you ask me.
Okay.
Because anything you set up that you have not tested in anger,
Mm.
you can never claim credit that that is the reason. So the opportunity came for us to test what we have on ground in anger,
Okay.
and we never did.
Mm.
So how?
But of course, foreign navies came to
It was
arrest you.
foreign navies that came in, foreign navies that we didn't even know that was in our waters. So I guess at the end of the day, it tells us that we need to do more. That's my position.